To look at some final statements made by Vikram Misri during this Ministry of External Affairs press briefing. He says that India has struck Bahawalpur, which is the headquarters of the terrorist group Jaish-e-Mohammed. He says that Jaish-e-Mohammed was responsible for the death of Daniel Pearl, the Wall Street Journal journalist who was abducted and murdered. Of course, this continuing theme that we have seen, Indian attacks on terrorist infrastructure within Pakistan. Do you think this will continue, and what's the significance of these ongoing targets of terror?
See, Joshua, sir has already covered, and I fully agree with what he says, and I have nothing more to add on that. But then last 2 minutes, if I have to say, see, history has offered its warnings repeatedly. Repeated tolerance of aggression under the guise of peace has only empowered actors who exploit negotiation as a pause to rearm. From unresolved territorial disputes to cross-border terrorism hubs, these unaddressed challenges continue to fuel instability in South Asia and beyond. So let's be clear, de-escalation without disarmament and dismantling of the extremist infrastructure is not diplomacy. It is not acceptable this time. So if we have taken the step of going and hitting them deep, if we have taken the step of absorbing their air projectiles, then it is for dismantling the terror infrastructure, getting a commitment in writing to tell them that never ever in their life they will walk this path again. This, bleeding India by 1,000 cuts, that philosophy has to stop. This policy of using terror as a weapon of a state policy, that has to stop. And in the bargain, if this has got escalated, and if India is stretched beyond a certain point, yes, I think we better grab some land before we getting onto the table to talk. Once we do that, we'll get our land back, because that will mean a perennial solution to the problem of Kashmir. Because if I take the narrative of jihadism from POK and Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan will have to wage war from Rawalpindi or Islamabad or Bahawalpur. Then
yes, Wing Commander, we've just had some further information that we are going to extend as we, of course, bring you this latest news. We have heard that 400 to 500 drones were shot at India yesterday, allegedly Turkish-made drones. Let me just repeat that for you. Around 400 to 500 drones were launched towards India by Pakistan, their army, last night, which was sighted at 24 separate locations, from Sichin base camp in Ladakh to Kutch area in Gujarat. Around 50 of these drones were destroyed by air defence guns, while around 20 were brought down through soft kills. Most of the drones were unarmed. That's reports that we are getting in now. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, this clearly an unseen provocation from what has happened in recent days. I'm getting a slight update on this. It's around 300 to 400 drones across the 36 locations. A provocation of this kind, what do you think the response might be?
What I hear is the Prime Minister has already had discussion with the three chiefs. The next step, that the chief has been empowered to call the territorial army. No, that's an indication. That means we are getting the boots ready to go onto the ground if that is required. So India is getting its preparations ready. See, they have sent the drones in quantity, 500 of them. They have tried to strike 24 of Indian cities. 3 of their aircrafts were down, excluding one AWACS. So which means that is a significant damage. And these 500 drones, believe you me, they couldn't, inflict a scratch on India. So, while it is good for us, because it gives us a good alibi, a good pretext to strike them even more harder. When we will strike, how we will strike, and what will be the response? Well, wait and watch. You've already seen the trailer in Sindoor Phase 1, Sindoor Phase 2, Sindoor Phase 3. The more they escalate, the bloodier the battle is going to be and the bloodier their nose is going to be. We know how to protect our nose. We are absolutely safe here, and we don't just react because we have to react. We react with a plan. We react at a time of our choosing. We'll keep them guessing. Imagine the kind of money that Pakistan has to put, when they have to keep the entire forces alert across the border with India. It inflicts a heavy cost on Pakistan. Pakistan cannot afford it. Yes, of course, China may be financing it, but for how long? Let us see it. Because if it is your war, you can put your money. How much will another person, fund for a war for a third world? Well, that needs to be seen, because America today has withdrawn its hands from Ukraine. If America can do that to Ukraine, China is the most unreliable partner that you have in the world. Pakistanis need to understand that. I will advise the Pakistanis, if they are hearing me, that, have a rebellion as early as possible and throw this scoundrel of a general out of his office, because he is the panacea, he is the root cause of all your problems. And if that is said, and if you can set your politics in place, and I think, there is nothing that land needs to fear of. Modi is certainly not their enemy. India will hardly be their enemy, because we are not interested in engaging with somebody who are not a match for us.
Yes, Wing Commander S. Sudhakaran, thank you ever so much for joining us. Also, thank you to Lieutenant General PJS Panu. Of course, we will continue to bring you all of the latest updates from the ongoing India-Pakistan tensions, but for now, that is all we have time for. We will be back shortly.